Hey out there in slot car land, how's everybody doing this fine Saturday evening? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys have gotten some racing in, even though the weather's starting to warm up. I've noticed on Facebook today there's some people racing out there, and I hope if you did, I hope you had a good time, and I hope you did pretty good as well. So today we're gonna go back and take a look at probably it is my most watched video. What makes a Fray car so fast? This video has 5,300 views on my channel. So we're going to revisit that, and we're going to be talking about a little more that we have found out about what makes a Fray car so fast. So in that video, I talked, and I'm sorry if some people didn't quite pick up what we were putting down, what I was saying, but we talked about balanced arms. We talked about the rear axle and the rear gear, about what you really need. We also talked about our independent front ends. We talked about tires. We talked about pickup shoes. And there's a couple, and we talked about motor brushes. There's a couple things we picked up on that I want to reiterate on today. And then I want to add a couple of new things to what's going on with Fray cars. So, as it comes to balanced arms, like I said in that video, the one that I bought two from Dynamic Armatures that I got at the Fray this year. We got them put in. One of them right now is in my black Ferrari, and it's smoking on the racetrack. It's still breaking in, so it didn't get ran very much at the Fray, but it's a polished and balanced arm. And what we talk about polished is they're polishing the commutator plate to make it smooth and fast, and then they're grinding the sides of the arm on the armature to balance it out. Like I said before, there's different places to get them, different prices. Dynamic Armatures, our MRT products sell some that I believe are legal. And there's, I think, about 3 or 4 other vendors. If you look at the rules at the Fray at Ferndale, he'll list all the armatures that are legal at the Fray. So, Dynamic Armatures are a little hard to come by. RC is not really putting out a lot through Dynamic Armatures, so I don't know about getting one. It took me over a year to get one, so I don't know how long it'll take you. So, we got that problem and stuff. But on top of that, the other thing that you want to do is on your top side on your gears. And you want to go to RTHO, and you want to buy a set of precision CNC'd machines from solid stock matched gears. It's RT 150's the number. They're $24 for a set. They are a stock tooth gear, but they are a matched set of gears. And then you want to pick up some pinion gears and some of the pinion stock that to build your top plate up with your armature. Now, the other thing that they're doing is they're putting a brass spacer in between your armature and your gear plate. Now, they're varying how many they put on there depending on whether you're running a dynamic armature or you're running an MRT or you're running a dash motor. The dash motors, the bottom pin on these dash motors are shorter than a stock Aurora motor. So they're putting a little more bushings in there to push it down a little further. So keep that in mind as well. I think you can pick those up probably through Dynamic Armatures or Wizard. We got ours from, the ones we bought from Norm when we were down there. So you want to look for those as well. And your precision gears. You can use stock gears. You can, because you're gonna take the motor plate apart anyway, so you can polish them up. And if you get a good set, you're good there. You don't have to spend the $24 for a set. So, you gotta build within your budget. You can make a stock set of gears work really well. So it's up to you on that part. Some of the new things we've learned outside of the bushing inside the motor plate is the rear axle. Now, there's still, some people are still running tungsten. A lot of people are switching over to the titanium. I know RC said that that's all he's selling now is the titanium rear axles. The only difference is they're probably slightly lighter than your tungsten axles. But what they're doing is they're sizing the rear hole on the chassis, and they're buying a rear axle diameter that is close, not quite the same, but as close to that hole size as possible. Now, why they're doing that is they're trying to limit vibration. Now, if you're a race fan, you know about wheel hop. When somebody gets on the brakes really hard in a stock car, especially in the NASCAR guys run on a road course, that'll make the rear end do this, and it's what they call wheel hop. You'll get the same thing in a slot car when either you're getting off the throttle, getting into the corner, or especially even more when you're getting back on the throttle coming out of the corner. If the axle is able to move up and down, it'll wheel hop for a little bit before it finally gets into a spinning motion, and that's what they're trying to eliminate because it can upset the car and it can dislot. So you want to get that axle as close to the chassis diameter hole, because not all chassis are the same. So they're sizing the hole, then they're buying an axle that's close to that diameter size to eliminate that. The other thing they're doing is they're adding a nylon. Some of them are using metal, some of them are using nylon. It depends on their choice. Spacer that's going in between here, in between the gear and this side rail of the chassis, to push the gear even more to the bottom drive gear, to keep it from moving away and losing that mesh. As you guys know, this is the gear from RTHO that we buy, that's brown. Let's see. They're what's the number on these? They are RT170, which is a 9-tooth, which is, I believe that's what stock is. And then they have an RT172, which is a 12-tooth. And that's gearing, that's to this gear, not this gear. So you've got your mesh right. But as you can see, like I said before, there's that bigger inner piece compared to your stock T-Jet gear. But they're even pushing that even more over with that nylon spacer in there. Then they're polishing the rear to make it run smooth. Now, the couple of the cars I saw, like Randy, our teammate, who was doing this as well, when they held their car like this and they turned it, as you can see, this barely, when you hit it, it just falls. His didn't. It was like click, 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 click. So they're really pushing that gear over to get that mesh between the gears and making it a whole lot faster. It's also eliminating even more of that wheel hop by pushing that gear over that far. So that's a couple of things we've picked up on down there, that they're doing even more with the rear ends now to even delete even more and getting that car even more stable and more planted on the track. A couple other things, front ends. A lot of the guys are using this and this one that is this angled anchor front end. Machine weights. This is the RT330. These are $15. They've got these really big brass triangular anchors on them. I don't prefer these. For some reason, I just don't like the way these work. I prefer the RT230 front end on my cars. This has the angled weight that swoops under the rear tire and then up the backside of the rear, as you can see there. I prefer that front end a little more. I used that anchor front end and it just, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. The other one, there's a new one out that is, this one actually has a little pins that lock in. They even have one now that actually has a balancer to where it actually moves from side to side to keep the car planted on the racetrack. But I don't know, I haven't tried that one, I haven't seen it with it, but I really prefer this one. to tell you the truth, the 230. That's my favorite front end. Another new innovation. These just came out prior to the Fray this year. We talked about pickup shoes and the Doc Ock springs, and some other guys are even using. I think they're using like non-magnet traction, something really light pickup shoe springs, and they were pre-bending shoes. Well, now you can buy these from Wizard. They're already pre-bent. They've got a longer step than stock, and they're a shorter step, as you can see, than stock. I picked some of these up from RC Lincoln. You can find these on Wizard's website. These are from Wizard, and they work great. They are the best shoes. You just put them on, run a couple laps, make sure you get in the line all the way across the shoe. And I didn't hardly even had to bend any of them. I had I think one set that I had to bend and flatten out to have full contact. But outside of that, they're great. So pick up some pick up some Wizard pickup shoes from RC Lincoln. They are great. They just came out, I believe in January, were approved immediately for the Fray, and then I picked some up there at the Fray. So pick some of those up as well. They're really great shoes. It saves you from having to pre-bend your own shoes, which can be a pain in the butt, because we've tried it, and without the bender, it's really hard. So pick up a set of these. They're already pre-bent. You don't even have to worry about doing that. So that is great as well. Like a couple other things that you want to do, like I said, experiment. Experiment with your shoes. Experiment, put them on, run them. If you have a dyno, like I said, the dyno is a saver when it comes to getting readings and whatnot. Put your shoes on, put it on the dyno, see what it runs. Take them off, switch the shoes to the other side, put it back on, and see if that changes anything. If you, like I said said before, the motor clip, the car will run in different things going the other way. A couple other things we learned, I said in the video about Xing your bottom motor brushes. Not so sure if that's a performance advantage or not. There goes my phone. So I'm not really sure about that. Some guys aren't even doing it anymore. Some of them are like fully notching the bottom of their motor brushes. Kind of like the way the AFX, the original AFX chassis is, or motor brushes, so check that out. That might be something too, but I'm not really sure how much of a performance advantage that's actually getting. We saw a lot of people that aren't even really doing that anymore, so I'm not really sure on that one. But just keep experimenting with your cars. Any of your cars, really, tell you the truth, but those are just a couple of the other things that we've picked up, is the sizing of the rear axle on the chassis, the bushing that they're putting in the back, the changeover from tungsten to titanium, which I really don't think is a big deal. If you can still get titaniums, would you still get tungstens? I would go that way. I don't think that's a big enough switch. I think it's just a switch over in materials pretty much with that. But sizing the rear axle, getting the bushing in there, pushing that gear even into more of the other gear, and basically that's probably some of the newest stuff we had. Now tires are a whole nother thing. As you guys know, we're on the really smooth Brad Bowman tracks. We're running 328s, basically because 328s will also run on this track and we don't have to switch over. We did get a set of 324s from Identity Tires. He gave us two sets of 324s and a set of 330s. I can't try the 324s because our track's so low, but if I get a chance, I'll try those and see how those are. But I really love RC's Wizard tires. That's what we're running right now. He makes them in all sizes, all the way down to 324s. That's probably the smallest that they're running right now is 324s. I don't think there's anybody running 322s. I heard some talk of them running 322s, but I'm not sure if anybody was actually running 322s. So that, to me, that's a little small. The 328s work really well, so we're going to stick with that. And we're going to try and get a couple more balanced arms to go along with that other one. Now, like like I said before, it's not really that expensive to build one car, but it's about the chassis and your motor plate to begin with. So make sure your chassis and motor plate are really good, really flat, you know, really nice chassis to start with, and then just go from there. After you find the chassis and the motor plate and a good set of matched motor magnets, it's all about the build after that. The parts that they're buying you can get anywhere. They're not parts that are hard to come by, but it's all about how they're put together. That's the biggest thing. So if you can talk, Clint Bourne, that's who I was trying to think of. Clint, who's a really good car builder. If you get a chance to talk to him or get anything from him, if you got a chance to talk to Jeff Kratz, talk to him, or Ron Schmidt, talk to Ron. All great car builders. So if you get a chance to get to a big race where the big hotshot guys are there, just talk to them. They're not going to tell you all your secrets, like I said before, but they will help you out. If you have a specific question for them, they will answer it. So if you come in with a question on like, well, how do I find a matched set of motor magnets, or where can I go to get a matched set of motor magnets, they'll outright tell you. They won't show you how they assemble their cars, but if you have a specific question, they will answer it for you. So don't walk up and say, well, how do you build your car? Because they're not going to tell you that. But if you have a specific thing like, well, what armature do you prefer? And they'll tell you. Or where can I find a balanced arm that's really good? They'll tell you. They're not that secretive, so. But they won't tell you their build secrets. That's where the key is in these cars, is the build secrets. They'll throw you little tidbits here and there, but they won't give you everything that they're doing. So, but what you got to do is you got to take those questions from several times, you know, several years down the road, and throw them all into one build, and you got what you go get what you get. So that's some more stuff we've learned from about Fray cars. We're still applying a lot of that knowledge. We're trying to get a hold of a gauge meter so we can measure our own motor magnets, and if we ever get a hold of one, we'll show you guys how to use that after we learn how to use it. So be on the lookout for that. We're still trying to get one. There's a motor magnet matcher on One Stop Slot Shop, but they're still out of stock. It's $54. We were going to buy that and see how well that worked, but we haven't been able to get a hold of one of those yet, so we're still trying to wait for them to come back into stock. You can buy from VRP Slot Car Racing, where we got our dyno. They have a magnet downforce meter, which is a little different. It won't tell you the readings all the way across. It'll just give you an overall downforce reading. You can use that to, you know, closely match your motor magnets, but if you want to get really dialed in, you're gonna have to have a gauge meter, because you want the readings from each end and the center of your magnets. So be on the lookout for that. That thing is on Facebook that tells you what you need in a motor magnet for a pancake motor. So go look that up. I'm gonna have to put that in an album. I don't think I have that in an album, so if I can dig that up, I'll put that in an album on the group page. So look that up, and just keep experimenting, keep working, keep talking to people that race Fray cars that are really fast. Like I said, ask specific questions. Don't just walk up and say, how do you build your car, because we're not going to answer that. So just keep doing that, and eventually you'll put it all together and you will have a faster car. Now, what you're going to have to watch out for, though, is when you go home and you start kicking your number one with your guys, but when you go somewhere else, you're going to have to remember that those guys are probably going to outrun you, because those guys are always coming up with new stuff. So we'll try and continue to bring it to you. As what we find out, we'll give it to you guys, and we'll try and put it all together. But that's basically the newer things that we found out, the sizing of the rear axle to the holes, and the putting the spacer in there and getting that axle pushed over to the gear as far as you can without creating a lot of heat and a lot of friction. But those are the newest things, plus the matched gears on top really help. The balanced polished arms really help as well. So I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you like this episode. I hope it helps bring a little more of the Fray picture into focus for you guys. And we'll continue to keep on working. I'm working on this car that we got off of eBay that we're still trying to get up to par. It's still got some issues. We're trying to figure out what it is. Hopefully we can get a balanced arm for that car and see what that does. But we'll keep working on that. Next week, be on the lookout for the bi-weekly featured car, and I believe it's Elijah's. So I'll have him pick a car, and we'll put that up. And then I'll let you know next week what we're going to be doing the following week in the main episode. Also, be on the lookout for an episode that I want to do with my two boys here pretty soon about trying to get the younger generation involved in the hobby. We're going to talk to them about what they love about the hobby, what they think you should, what they think as a kid, what might be a good way to get kids involved in the hobby, and keep this hobby going, because that's what we need to do. If we don't get the younger generation into this hobby, it's going to die, and we don't want that to happen, because this is probably one of the most family-friendly hobbies that a father and son, and even a mom, if she wants to, can get involved in and have fun and make it a family thing. So be on the lookout for those. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. We're almost up to 1,500 subscribers, which is insane. I'll put a little dot up here that says Slot Car Crazy. You can click it, and you'll be subscribed. I'll throw up a couple of videos on the other side, maybe some of the Fray action from the Fray this year, and maybe something else. And I hope you guys have a great week. I'll catch you next week with the bi-weekly feature car. Be on the lookout for that video with me and the boys, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.